focus on growth. And this is part 3. If you remember, I told you to focus on growth because growth is your design. When you stop growing, fulfillment will elude you because that's your design. You were designed to keep evolving, to keep growing till you exit the earth. I told you that growth is a requirement. To maintain relevance in this world, you have to keep growing. And then I told you that more often than not, focus inspires recognition. Focus inspires recognition. When you focus on growth, you will recognize learning opportunities faster. Okay. And then I said, for you to keep growing, you have to focus on 3 major areas of life. And that's what we've been looking at for the last 2 weeks. Let's consider them again this evening. 3 major areas I asked you to focus on if you want to keep growing. I said you need to keep growing as far as your mindset is concerned. I said you've got to keep growing in the area of personal efficiency. And number 3, you've got to keep growing in the area of association and environment. Okay, mindset, personal efficiency, association, and environment. And last week we focused on mindset, and because of time, I'm not even going to touch what we covered last week. I'm going to encourage you, if this is your first time of joining this particular series, I'm going to encourage you to go to my YouTube channel. Just search for Segun Oke on YouTube, and you can catch up with the previous episode of this teaching series. And if your first time of meeting me, maybe I should introduce myself for those who are seeing me for the first time. My name is Segun Oke. I am a personal development and leadership trainer certified by Maxwell Leadership. My passion is to help people discover themselves and to make the most of life. So tonight we want to focus on personal efficiency. Personal efficiency. Okay, what is efficiency? Efficiency is the ability to produce desired results with the minimum expenditure of your resources. Let me say that again. Efficiency is the ability to produce desired results with the minimum expenditure of your personal resources. You want to be able to produce the most that you can with minimal effort. Okay? You have to grow in that regard. The ability to produce the most with the minimum. The ability to do what? To produce the most with the minimum. Why are we looking at that? It is because efficiency increases value. Okay? Efficiency increases value. If you have been following me for a while, you know I am passionate about the parable of the minas. I talk about them all the time. Now, in that parable, the master was going to travel. He called 10 servants and he gave them 1 mina each. And he asked them to do business with this, money till I return. Of course, you know the story. When the master came back, he called his servants to give account of what he did with his mina. One came and said, I have turned 1 to 10. 1 mina, now I have 10. The master said, well done, good and faithful servant. And the master said, I will make you governor over 10 cities. Then the second one came and said, Master, I have turned 1 into 5. Now, if you read carefully, the story is in the book of Luke, chapter 19. If you read it very carefully, you will notice that to the guy that turned 1 to 5, the master did not tell him, well done, good and faithful servant. The master made him ruler over 5 cities, but he did not give him the commendation that he gave the guy that turned 1 to 10. I'm not going to even talk about the guy that buried his mina and didn't do anything about it. And the reason, what I'm trying to show you is the guy that turned 1 to 10 did it in the same environment where the other guy turned 1 to 5. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. In the same economy, in the same environment, under the same circumstances, okay, some people are producing way more results, better results than some other people are producing. And you need to realize efficiency increases what? Value. And this is what I'm trying to say. The volume of your contribution will determine the volume of your remuneration. The volume of your contribution will determine the volume of your remuneration. And that's the reason why I want us to talk about this ability to grow in producing results. Okay? In producing results, not just producing results, but producing results with minimal resources. Producing outstanding results with minimal resources. Don't forget, efficiency increases value. People are going to perceive you as valuable, and people are going to reward you to the degree to which you bring results, to the degree to which you bring contribution. Like I said, the volume of your contribution will determine the volume of your remuneration. But let's hold on a bit. I want to sound a note of warning. Before you focus on efficiency, you want to be effective first. Efficiency without effectiveness is like winning a race only to discover that you ran in the wrong direction. Efficiency without effectiveness is like climbing to the top in record time only to find out that your ladder is leaning against the wrong building. Efficiency without effectiveness will produce success without meaning. It will produce achievement without fulfillment. And that's the reason why I love that book by Simon Sinek that says, start with why. Before you start talking about the volume of your contribution, before you start, building on, how to become a better contributor, how to multiply results, you want to make sure that first you are multiplying the right results. Okay, it was Peter Drucker that said that effectiveness is doing the right thing. Efficiency is doing things right. And this is what I'm saying. It does not matter that we are doing it right if what we are doing should not be done in the first place. So you want to start with why, and you want to review with why at crossroads. Okay? Start with why and review with why. All right? Review according to why from time to time. And at crossroads, let why be your compass. In other words, before you do anything, ask yourself, why are we doing this? Is this what we are supposed to be doing now? It is only after you have answered yes, that is when you should proceed. Let me proceed. Let me give you an example. Imagine this year, 2023, today is the 20th of September, 2023. Imagine there is a factory in the city of Lagos producing analog phones. Think about it. And then the manager comes up to say, you know what, in this factory, I want us to be more efficient. In other words, we're going to boost production from 200 sets per day to 500 sets per day. Now, they may be efficient. They may automate their systems. They may invest in machinery and hit that target. But then there is no market for analog telephones. So you don't want to do a lot of what people don't need. You don't want to do a lot of what the market is not asking for. So it's not enough to be busy. You've got to be busy doing the right things. So we're talking about personal efficiency. But before we talk about personal efficiency, you must have taken care of personal effectiveness. You want to make sure that you are doing the right thing. You're engaging with the right people. You are executing the right projects. And how do you do that? Is by asking the question, why? In my opinion, the most important question you will ever ask is the question, why? It does not matter if it's interesting. It does not matter if people are excited about it. It does not matter even if it is paying now. That you are being paid for something now does not mean in the next 2 weeks you are going to have a job. If you don't answer the question, why? There are things that sold years ago. There are things that were important even as at yesterday that are no longer relevant today. So like I said, you want to start with why. You want to review with why from time to time. And when you get to crossroads, you want to make sure that you decide based on why. In other words, let why be your compass. When you don't know what to do, follow purpose. Okay, follow purpose. When your resources become scarce, okay, prioritize purpose. It's important. Like I said, it's not important to do a lot of the wrong things. It is better to do the right things at the right time. So effectiveness precedes efficiency. All right. But after we have decided that we are effective, after we have made sure that we are doing the right things at the right time, then we want to, put measures in place to be efficient. And that's what I'm talking about tonight. Personal efficiency. So I got 4 suggestions I want to make, and then we're going to be done. 4 major suggestions I want to make to you if you are going to become personally efficient. And this is the first one. Efficiency begins with rest. Efficiency begins with rest. And I know that quite a number of my followers, quite a number of my listeners live in the city of Lagos, perhaps the busiest city in Nigeria. But listen, being busy is not the same thing as being effective. Being busy is not even at the same thing as being efficient. That you are spinning your wheels does not mean you are making progress. That you are spinning your wheels does not mean that you are moving forward. Okay? Efficiency begins with rest. So I'm going to say to you, sleep for 7 hours every night. If you can. If you cannot get 7 hours every night, I mean, some people get back home at 11 and they have to be out of the house by 5 a.m. So it may be difficult for them to get 7 hours of sleep every night. Then you want to try another option. How about, getting 8 hours of sleep, but then divided into twice a day? In other words, if you can get about 5 hours at night or maybe 6 hours at night, and then in the course of your day, especially for entrepreneurs, can you nap another 2 hours? See, because rest is necessary for your productivity. Somebody says, if I sleep for 8 hours in a day, or I sleep for 7 hours in 24 hours, I'm sleeping away my future. No, you were actually designed to sleep for that long so that you can be effective. So I took it upon myself to check how many hours of work do I need in a day to be successful? And I read a research that says it's an average of 6 hours. The most successful individuals in the world work for about 6 hours. So this is what I'm saying. If you sleep for 7 hours and you even work for 7 hours, that is 14 hours in a day, you still have 10 hours to do other things. The mistake we make is, I need a long time. No, you don't need a long time. You don't need so many hours to be successful. You just need to be at your best, okay, at the right time during the day. And I found out that the quality of your rest will determine the quality of your work. So you want to start by investing in rest. I wish I had the time. When I say invest in rest, I'm talking about even your bed, your pillows, the ambience of your room, the lighting of the room. It is important that when you go to bed, the whole of your system truly shuts down, because your efficiency the following day will be determined by the quality of your rest. And I said, if you work for 7 hours and you sleep for 7 hours, that's 14 hours. You have 24 hours in a day. So what do you do with the rest? All right. I'm going to ask you, beyond work, beyond sleep, I'm going to ask you to invest in intelligent entertainment. You want to be efficient? Invest in intelligent entertainment. I'm going to give you a few suggestions. Okay. Invest in humor, creativity, history, and family-friendly entertainment. Okay. You want to invest in entertainment that stimulates your thinking. Even though you are trying to relax, you don't want to watch movies or consume entertainment that pollute your mind, that poison your soul, that dumb down your intelligence. You don't want to do that. So even though we are asking you to invest in rest, you want to make sure that when you want to entertain yourself, you are stimulating your thoughts, you are stimulating your dreams, you are not consuming things that damage your soul. So what am I doing tonight? I'm sharing with you 4 major suggestions that will help you to become personally efficient. And this is the first one. Efficiency begins with rest. Now let's move on to number 2. You want to be efficient? Do your best, not the most. Do your best, not the most. What am I saying? Do everything you can. Do what nobody else can do like you, but don't do everything. Let me say it in another way. Work with your sharpest tools. Okay, if you were David, that would be a catapult. Don't try to do everything. Some people make that mistake. They think the volume of what they do is what determines how important they are. No, that's not what makes you important. What makes you important is the quality of what you do compared to the quality of what other people are doing. In other words, if any other person can do what you are doing, no matter how much of it you do, it's not going to add value. Okay, you are not going to be important for that. Okay, you are going to be important to the degree to which you are doing something better than the rest of us. So the question is, what is that one thing or those few things that you can do better than most? Make sure that that is what you invest your time doing if you want to be efficient. So if you are the boss, delegate, okay? Empower other people. All right, surround yourself with people who are better than you and then get out of their way. I heard it so many years ago that the wisdom of the number one person is he must be secure enough to surround himself with people that are better than himself. Let me say it in another way. Invest in your weaknesses. And what do I mean? Find people who can do things you cannot do and invest in them, empower them, and then get out of their way. Let them do what they know how to do. And then you as the boss, do the most important thing that you do for the organization. Now, somebody is saying, but I'm not the boss, I'm just a subordinate. Okay, what do I advise you to do? Negotiate. How do I mean you negotiate? Exceed expectations first, then propose doing your best as a means of contributing more. Let me explain it this way. Let's assume that we have this, let's assume there's a shop where we are selling, let me see now, say we're selling fabric and we have customers coming into the shop and there are about 4 of us, okay, who attend to customers in the shop. Now, if I am one of the 4 and I notice that I excel in marketing and in sales, okay, I will make sure that first I excel in all that is expected of me. Then, because I am bringing in results, I will now approach my boss to say, sir, we say serve about 100 people every day in this shop. This is just a hypothesis. And out of the 100, with being in the shop, I bring in about 50 of them. If you would allow me to go out and not stay in the shop and focus solely on marketing and sales, I can guarantee that I would serve about 200 people every month. And the boss says, oh, we have 100 right now. You are bringing in 50 to 60 and you're not even leaving the shop. Oh, go by all means. And if in the first month of going out, okay, now you are no longer staying with the others in the shop. You are bringing in 200 customers. You are bringing in 250 customers. You have effectively started a sales and marketing department for that organization. No right thinking boss will ask you to stay in the shop, stay with the others, do what every other person is doing the moment you are able to distinguish yourself. But before you can be distinguished that way, you have to excel in what all of us are doing. You know, the way they do it in medicine, first you are a general practitioner, then you are a specialist. All right. What makes the boss is because he mastered what it means to be a general practitioner to the point where he went entrepreneurial. When you are going to be promoted by such a boss, you want to excel in a special aspect of the business, and then you are promoted to that place. And before you know it, you have become a boss under a boss. So what are you supposed to do? You play the boss, you delegate, and you empower others. Okay, so what I'm advocating actually can be done by every one of us, because to a certain extent, you are a leader. To a certain extent, you are a boss over a number of people, even if it is just in the beginning, just yourself. Okay, treat yourself like an organization, but the moment you have 1 or 2 persons reporting to you, play the boss. You may not be the final authority, but you want to learn to do the thing that only you can do and then empower other people to do what they do best. If you are going to be personally efficient, you have to do your best, not the most. Okay, do your best, not the most. Giving you 4 suggestions on personal efficiency. I said the first one is what? Efficiency begins with rest. Number 2, do your best, not the most. Now let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is simply this: leverage systems. Leverage systems. Okay? Leverage systems. What is a system? A system is a predetermined process of getting things done. Now listen, we're talking personal efficiency, not organizational efficiency. So as an individual, you want to make sure that you have a system for doing everything. For example, you maybe you live on mainland Lagos and you work in Victoria Island. You've got to develop a system that delivers you punctually to work. Okay, don't let your transportation to work be at the mercy of any other circumstance. Create a system around it. All right, create a system for checking emails and responding to emails. I mean, that floors me all the time. I interface with people at times. Sometimes you send somebody a message and maybe a day later you're asking the person, I sent you a message yesterday, and the person says, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. You have to have a system where people that are important to you get messages across to you. I tell the people that work with me, okay, people around me, when I send you a message and you don't get it, I tell them like this. I say, stop living like someone who does not have important people in his or her life. You see, it is people who don't have important people in their lives that you send messages to them and they don't see it. And some people assume, the more successful you are, the bigger you are, the more you don't have time for people. It is not true. This is what I found out, that the most successful of men have a quick way of being reached by people that are important to them. Let me explain. I have this friend, when we, met, we exchanged numbers, and I do WhatsApp. I exchange communication on WhatsApp. I hardly do broadcast messages. Okay. And up until very recently, I used just one phone. Now I have one personal phone and one business phone. But then I use one phone and I communicate with people on WhatsApp. So on this particular occasion, I sent this guy a message. I was traveling to a city. I found out he was going to the same city. So I sent him a message to say, you know what, I'm going to this city, and I noticed, as a matter of fact, we're both speaking for the same organization. So I said, when we get into town, coming into town early, I don't know what time you are coming in. Maybe we can hang out before, our sessions. Now, this is a guy who wanted to meet me, and this is a guy I wanted to meet. We've known each other online for a while. He did not get that message until the day after the event. Okay, so I was speaking a day before he was speaking, so I wanted to find out what time he was coming into town so that we could arrange, but then he didn't respond to my message. It was after we had gotten back to Lagos that he got back to me and said, oh, I'm so sorry. I got your message, but I got it late and all of that. So I asked him, I said, so how do you normally get messages? Then he said, oh, I don't do WhatsApp because I use my WhatsApp for broadcast and all of that. If somebody sends me a message on WhatsApp, I may not see it until about 2 or 3 days. I have people managing some of these things, and so I don't check WhatsApp. So I said, how do I get across to you if I want to get across to you? He said SMS. Okay, SMS. I know another person who does not do DMs. You send her a DM on Instagram, it can be there for a year, she will not notice it. But there are people, if they want to get that person's attention, they get the person's attention within 2 minutes. And what am I trying to say to you? Develop a system for the people that are important to you to be able to lay hold of you. And don't think I'm a big man now. Okay, missing people's calls is how they know that I'm busy. No. There must be people that you are not too busy for. If not, you will be stranded in life. Let's proceed with these words from John Maxwell. John Maxwell said that people who excel, regardless of their profession, develop systems to help them achieve the big picture. Read it with me again slowly. People who excel, regardless of their profession, develop systems to help them achieve the big picture. Okay, so for whatever it is you want to do, develop systems. Develop systems. A good system multiplies your productivity. It functions smoothly and continues to produce results without your attention. That's how you know you have a good system. Okay, it functions smoothly behind the scene and continues to produce results without your attention. Okay, a good example of that is the human body. It's an excellent system. Listen, you as an individual, you are a complex machine designed by God. And when you are not sick, you have so many systems working in your body that you are not even paying attention to. For example, the way your eyelashes protect your eyes. You don't need to switch on anything. You don't need to remember. Okay, it's a reflexive system. It's part of your nervous system. The moment dirt wants to enter your eye, you just flicker your eyelids. It's a system. It protects you, but you don't even have to do anything about it. If you are going to be efficient, you want to do the same thing. Design a system for everything. Okay? Design a system for everything. A system for how you get to work, how you get back from work, how you respond to messages, how you prepare reports, how you deliver reports. Okay, I mean, I do these presentations now, and I've done presentations like this now from 1996, a minimum of one presentation per week from 1996 till date. In recent times, it's a minimum of about 2 per week from 1996 till date. Why I can do it effectively is because I have developed a system. So many years ago, listening to John Maxwell, I learned how to, file away thoughts, ideas, quotes, illustrations that I would get to use in the future. And then over time, I was listening one day, Pastor Matthew Ashimolo was speaking, and he said how that every message he had ever presented, every presentation he has ever done is on his laptop, filed away. So since 2009, I started practicing the same thing. There is no talk, there is no presentation, there is no sermon I have presented that I don't have on my system, filed away systematically. So if you ask me to come speak on any subject, I have a folder on it that I can reach out to, and bring out my materials, because see, it's a waste of time for you to keep reinventing the wheel. There are some people who speak like that. Every time they want to speak on a subject, they have to research afresh. No, every time I speak on a subject, I build on the subject, from the last time I spoke about it. So I'm not going to say the same thing over and over again, but I'm not going to start from scratch. I'm going to build on what I've done before. Then after some time, I have a volume. Then I turn it into a book. So this is what I'm trying to say. From the moment I make a presentation, I have laid the foundation for a book in the future. It is systematized. If you are going to be effective, you have to design systems, you have to leverage systems, review your systems from time to time, optimize your systems, but by all means, successful people are people of systems. Let me show you this diagram. I call it the personal efficiency quadrant. The personal efficiency quadrant. Now, look at it with me. If you are incompetent and you have a bad system, you will be redundant. People are going to do away with you. Nobody wants to do business with you. Nobody wants to employ you. Nobody wants to marry you. Nobody wants to do life with you. If you are incompetent and you execute bad systems, you operate a bad system. Now, if you are incompetent and you have a good system, maybe you are incompetent but you work for a good organization, or you are incompetent but you have you have good friends who have good systems around you. At most, you'll be inadequate. You definitely will not be at your best. And if we move to the right side of the quadrant, you have bad system and then competence. When you are a competent person, using a bad system, you are going to be average. For you to produce outstanding results, you've got to be competent and you've got to deploy excellent systems. You've got to be competent and you've got to deploy excellent systems. What are we looking at? I'm sharing with you 4 big suggestions on personal efficiency. What is personal efficiency? It is you producing the most with the minimum of resources. Producing the most of results with the most minimum of resources. All right. And we've said efficiency begins with rest. All right. We've told you to do your best, not the most. Don't do the most, do your best. And then leverage systems. Number 4 is where I'm going to wrap it up this evening. And number 4 is use time as a tool for productivity. Use time as a tool for productivity. Now, what I'm going to share with you for the rest of our time together is taken from my book, The Checklist. And if you have not read that book, I want to recommend that you get the book, The Checklist, because I'm just going to be saying a few things from one of the chapters in the checklist. But if you want to live a life of outstanding achievement, you want to read that book. It's very, very small. You can read it at a sitting. Of course, the hardback is no longer available, but you can get a soft copy right now. There's a link in the comments. I have, pinned it at the top of the comments. All right. Just go through the link. There is a link there that you can use to access the book right away. You can purchase the book right away. Even the moment we're done with this session, get the book and read it. One of the chapters in the book is the investment of time. Let me say a little bit about the book. See, the checklist is about 5 essential elements of achievement. If you want to be successful, if you want to achieve, if you want to attempt things and achieve them, I discovered that there are 5 things that must be present. I don't want to spend time talking about them. One of them is the investment of time. And what I talked about in that chapter is just a few of the things I said in that chapter are some of the things I want to share with us, and then we'll round up tonight. Using time as a tool for productivity. There are a number of laws that I covered in that chapter. I'm going to talk about just 2 of them. The first is the law of time perspective. The law of time perspective. Okay, this law was based on a research by Dr. Edward Banfield, okay, but it was made popular by Brian Tracy. The law says that the most successful people in society take the longest period of time into consideration when making their day-to-day decisions. The law of time perspective. Okay, the final principle we are looking at tonight is using time as a tool for productivity. And the first law we are looking at is the law of time perspective. It says that the most successful people in society take the longest period of time into consideration when making their day-to-day decisions. In other words, they plant trees that they will never sit under in their lifetime. In other words, anytime they are trying to do anything, they don't do whatever they do because of what's right in front of them. They do whatever they do for the long term. They are always long term in their approach, in their investment, in their effort. They are always what? They are always long term. All right. Nelson Searcy and Kerrick Thomas in their book Activate said the same thing, but they said it differently. They said average leaders focus on what happens next. Extraordinary leaders focus on what happens after what happens next. If you are going to be efficient, you don't do whatever it is that you are doing because of immediate results. No. It's a waste of effort. When you really want to be efficient, you want to make the most out of your minimal resources, then you want to do whatever you do for the long term. Okay? Do it for the long term. That is the law of time perspective. Like I said, if you want more about this principles I'm sharing, you will have to get the book, The Checklist. If you have the book, I will encourage you to go back to that chapter on the investment of time and read it again. For those who don't have the book, get the book, read the whole book. It will change your thinking. It will change your life. I said I would talk about 2 laws. The first one is the law of time perspective. The second one is Parkinson's law. Okay, Parkinson's law. It says that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Okay, I know that most of us will have experienced this, even if it's unconsciously. If you have a task and you tell yourself, for example, let me remember, when you were in the university, let's look at this one. A lecturer comes to class, gives you an assignment or a project for you to submit, maybe a group project. Let's say today is the 20th of September, and then he says everybody should submit on the 20th of October. That's 4 weeks. It's amazing how for like the first 1 week, like the first 2 weeks, almost everybody is not doing anything about it. Then maybe the 3rd week, the most serious of students start doing something about it. Then in the final week before submission, there is frantic activity. Frantic activity. What you will realize was that the lecturer gave 1 month, but the average student in the class perhaps spent just about 3 days on that project. It is called Parkinson's law. If the lecturer had said, today is the 20th of September, everybody submit in 2 weeks, amazingly, it would have been done in 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to Parkinson's law, let me show you the diagram again. Okay, it says more time equals time wasted. Less time equals increase in productivity. So what you want to do when you have a task is to give yourself the right frame. Right timeline, okay, for delivery. Don't allow what you can do in 2 weeks to take you 1 month. So you look at what you need to do and ask yourself, how long do I really need to get this job done? then you leverage, okay, or you deploy what I call the power of deadlines. Okay, and as I round up this evening, I'm going to show you 5 benefits of deadlines. Okay, you use deadlines to motivate you to deliver results. For example, you want to publish a book. After you have decided, okay, I want to write this book, okay, what's the book about and all of that, the next thing you want to fix is publishing date. Okay, so for example, you say to yourself, I want to write my first book in the year 2024. What's the book going to be about? Why do you want to write a book? Don't forget, we've got to be effective first before we start talking about efficiency. Okay, why do you want to write a book? When all of that is sorted out, then you fix a publishing date. So let's assume you say 30th of October 2024, I am going to release my book. Then you will now work your way back from 30th of October 2024 to the 20th of September 2023, and you ask yourself, what must I do when? So that by 30th of October 2024, I am releasing my book. Now, this is what I'm saying. It's amazing how that it will take you that long. Another person writing a similar book, the same volume, same research, may say to himself, I want to release my book on the 25th of June 2024. And the person will meet his target. It's not so much of the volume of the work, but the moment we fix a deadline, it helps us to galvanize our energy and our resources to produce that expected result within the allotted time. Parkinson's law says work will expand to fill the allotted time. So if something can happen in 2 weeks, don't give yourself 1 month. You are wasting time. And you need to understand your most valuable resource is time. Like it has been said, time is life, time is money. So you want to make sure that you do the best of work in, optimum time. Let me put it to you this way. So if your boss tells you, I need that report on my table tomorrow morning, don't see tomorrow morning. Give yourself a deadline earlier than the deadline your boss has given you, and keep your promise to yourself. That's how to be efficient. That's how to be excellent. So if the boss says, I need this on my table tomorrow morning, you say to yourself, I'm sending this report tonight by 10 p.m. And the beautiful thing about it is, you send the report by 10 p.m. He's likely not to read it, but you will sleep easy throughout the night. Let's look at the benefits, okay, of deadlines, and then we can round up from there. Okay, I'm just going to show you 5 of them. Benefits of deadline. This is the first one. Deadlines keep your momentum moving in a positive direction. Deadlines keep your momentum moving in a positive direction. The moment you have a deadline, you will notice all your energy, everything about you now is focused on that deadline. And then you begin to move, you gain speed, you establish rhythm simply because you have focus. There is an end. Okay, you are not deceiving yourself. It's not the end of the world. It's not like when you get there, that's all. But I'm not going to move to the next thing until I get to this dead end or this deadline that I've set for myself. So deadlines keep your momentum moving in a positive direction. Number 2, deadlines help you prioritize and focus only on what is most important. Okay, deadlines help with focus. The moment you decide this has to be done by this time, you engage focus. Okay, it helps you to prioritize, it helps you to focus. Nothing else is as important. Okay, nothing else is as important. Until this is done, I'm not doing any other thing. It's a deadline. Okay, number 3, I'm mindful of our time. Number 3, deadlines spur innovation and creativity. Deadlines spur innovation and creativity. That's number 3. When you have a deadline and you have not achieved what you want to achieve, but because you cannot afford to meet that deadline, you will be more creative. You will be more innovative. You will look in different directions, okay, to see things that you thought were impossible, become possible. This is what I found out. The closer you are to the deadline, the more possibilities you will find. because the pressure of the deadline makes your mind stretch, opens your mind into different possibilities. You begin to see different scenarios because you have a deadline. It's amazing how that when the deadline is not close, you are not as creative. There's no pressure on you to generate a unique idea. But the beauty of deadlines is the closer you are to the deadline, the more options you begin to consider, the more your brain begins to deliver to you greater results. And number 4, deadlines increase your confidence. Deadlines increase your confidence. And this is how that works. You see, when you keep your promise to yourself, it affects how you feel about yourself. So if you're the kind of person that struggles with timidity, you struggle with, your sense of worth, set goals no matter what they are. There's something about setting deadlines and hitting those targets. It's like a building block, one block on top of the other, one block on top of the other. And that's what confidence is all about. When you see the average person that is confident, you are seeing somebody who over a long period of time have kept his own promise to himself. Okay, our own promise to ourselves. And finally this evening, deadlines prepare you for success. Deadlines prepare you for success. This is what I found out, that the success of today is rehearsal for the task of tomorrow. The success of today is what? Rehearsal for the task of tomorrow. Whatever it is that you are doing today, when you stretch yourself through the power of a deadline, okay, it becomes normal for you after some time. It's like the guy who goes to the gym and if you're lifting 50 kg for the first time, you will feel pain. But if you keep lifting 50 kg, after some time, 50 kg becomes your minimum. Then you can move from 50 to 60, from 60 to 70. So when you're the kind of person that is used to deadline, this is what I'm saying. Don't wait for somebody else to fix deadlines for you. To be excellent actually is to exceed expectations. So even when there's an external deadline for you, you set for yourself something closer. If they tell you deliver in 2 weeks, set a deadline for 10 days, a deadline for 1 week. Okay. The boss says, I want maybe 3 pages of report. See if you can add to it. For example, it tells you he's not expecting, perhaps infographic in the report. You go the extra mile and then give yourself a deadline. The day a bigger task is going to come, you are going to be prepared, because everything you are doing right now is preparing you for greater responsibility. I'm reminded of, that epic battle between David and Goliath. It was the first time David was in battle, but it was really not the first time. Because behind the scenes, he had been handling some little things that prepared him. See, by the time he saw that giant, he was not afraid. And honestly speaking, if you have beaten a lion, if you have killed a bear, you won't be afraid of a man. That's the truth. Because the lion is faster than a man. The bear was perhaps bigger than the man. Okay, so the things that you are doing now actually are preparing you for the greater things that you will do tomorrow. Let's look at those 5 benefits again as we round up this evening. 5 benefits of deadlines. Deadlines keep your momentum moving in a positive direction. Deadlines help you prioritize and focus only on what's most important. Deadlines spur innovation and creativity. Deadlines increase your confidence. And deadlines prepare you for success.